Hey there, thanks for tuning into this training session. My name is Yanis, and I'll be showing you how to get started with Prezi Design. But before we get into that, let me give you a quick overview of today's training session. First, we're going to go into the Prezi Design template library, where I'll show you how you can switch between the different template categories, how you can preview the templates and pick one for your project, as well as how you can upload your own files to then customize in Prezi Design. Then we're going to jump into the Prezi Design editor where all of the creating takes place. I'll show you how to add new content to your projects, content like charts, maps, various graphics and integrations, and then I'll show you how you can edit that content and customize it to your specific needs. Then we're going to touch upon some of the more interactive and engaging features available in Prezi Design, like adding URL links to your content to generate leads, as well as using page links in your multi-page projects. I'll also cover how to create interactive dashboards with interlinked tabs, how to add animations to your Prezi Design content, and how to use callouts to provide an extra layer of content. Towards the end, I'm going to show you the available download options and the available download formats. We'll cover how to share your content online as well as embed it on your website, and I'll show you how you can use your Prezi Design content in Prezi Video to record videos. So without any further ado, let's get started with the training session. Once you log into your Prezi account, you're going to see the Prezi dashboard, and in order to access Prezi Design from here, you just have to click on the respective tab on the left side of the page. And as we do that, we get taken into the Prezi Design dashboard, where you will see the projects that you've created or that others have shared with you in Prezi Design. And if you hover over a thumbnail of your project, you can click on the edit button and jump straight into the editor to work on that specific project. Otherwise, you can click on the three dots over here, and then you can also start editing it. You can share it. So you can set the privacy settings of your project. You can add collaborators. So if you're part of a team, you can actually invite others to also work on your projects, and you can collaborate in real time. And you can also let others present your content. You can also download your content from here. It's possible to sort your projects by folders. So on the left of the page, you can add new folders. It's also possible to record videos, which are content from Prezi Design. So here you can also access the view page of your project. It's possible to make copies of your Prezi Design project. So this is great if you want to reuse your projects later on, but still want to keep the original project intact. And of course, you can also delete your projects here. In order to start working on some new content, we're going to have to go through the Prezi Design template library. And in order to access it, we just have to select one of the shortcuts here at the top of the page. So for example, let's click on Start from Template, and then we will be taken into the Prezi Design template library. And here you will see hundreds of various templates that you can use for your projects. If you want to have a preview of any of the templates, you just have to hover over the thumbnail and click on it, and then you will see what's included in that specific template. So this is an infographic. We can see that there's some placeholder text here, some charts have been added, and there's a background image here. So as you can see, there's some charts here popping up. And with these templates, basically what you need to remember is that you can repurpose them entirely to your needs. So you can change all of the colors, change the fonts, delete the things you do not need, like you can delete a chart, for example, and add your own chart. So all of these templates are here to basically speed up your workflow, to ease the design process, and then you can repurpose them however you'd like to for your own specific needs. And if you're happy with the template that you're seeing and you want to go into the editor to work on it, you just have to click on Use this template here at the bottom of the page. But let's not do that now. I want to show you how you can also sort between other template categories. So here on the left, you can see various categories. For example, we can click on Designs for Video, and These tablets, for example, are meant specifically to be used for Prezi video. So you can, for example, let's click on one. You can use it, add your own content, and then these will work great in Prezi video. So you can use all of the content that you create in Prezi Design in Prezi video, but these specific templates are going to be really nice for Prezi video. Then you can also access slides, for example. You can work on reports. There's dashboards if you want to visualize. Some data, so these are going to be perfect for you. There's also single charts and single maps. Prezi Design is great for visualizing data, and also some posters, social media posts, for example, for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and other sites. So you can have a look at all of those here after the training session as well. And then here on the left, we can also click on Create Custom Size, and in this pop-up, we can set the width and height of the canvas that we'll be using in pixels, or you can also use one of the preset sizes here. But if you're working in the editor, you can also change the size of your project at any time. Also, a really neat feature here available on the left is the possibility to upload a file. So here you can drag and drop a PowerPoint, PDF, or doc file. So a file that you've created before, you can then just drag and drop it here, and it will all open up in the Prezi Design editor. So you'll be able to add some additional tweaks to it. You can add some animations to it, for example, and make it more interactive and engaging in Prezi Design. Also here on the left, you can filter the templates by color if you'd like to do that. And here in the top right corner, you can look for specific projects. So let's type in resume, for example, and here we can see that there are some templates that we could use. All right, but now let's start creating our own content, and for that we're going to need to go into the Prezi Design editor, and I'm going to be working on a blank canvas so that it's going to be easier for you to see how I add content and how I customize it. So we're just going to click on this blank template over here and then go into the Prezi Design editor. Now we are in the Prezi Design editor, and here I'd like to bring your attention to the toolbar on the left side of the page, and this is where you can add your content to the canvas. So for example, as we hover over the first icon in this list, it says add text. Let's click on it, and then we get some text options that we can use. For example, titles, body text, a quote, facts and figures, even a table chart. And if we would like to add something to the canvas, we can just hover over the thumbnail and click insert, or we can just drag and drop it right onto the canvas where we want it. And then with the text object, we can start typing right away. So let's add a title for our infographic. I'm going to be using some data on bicycles, so let's have this title for the infographic. So now, as I click on the canvas, you're going to see the general settings appear on the right, but as soon as I select an item on the canvas, like this text box, we're going to see the respective customization options for this text object. And before we go into those, I also want to show you how you can resize the text box. So for example, you can hover over one of the sides and drag it to the left or right. You're going to see the text adapting to our movement. And you can also hover over one of the corners and resize the text box like that. And in this case, it will also increase or decrease the font of this text item. So now if we go into the settings panel on the right, here we can align our content if we'd like to. We can change the transparency level, add an animation. We're going to do that a bit later. We can, of course, change the text color, so we can use the palette colors, we can use the color picker, or we can also copy and paste the hex color code over here. We can change the font as well, and then the font size, some standard formatting options here, line height, letter spacing, and some other options as well. Feel free to check those out after the training session. Okay, so the next thing that we have here in the toolbar on the left is the option to add a chart. And if you're looking to visualize some data, then Prezi Design is the perfect place for you, because there's more than 40 different charts available. So for example, currently they're sorted by chart type. You can see that there's line charts, there's bar charts, even a raised bar, There's column charts, pie charts, so all of the most popular ones, area charts. If we scroll down, we can even see that there's a word cloud and a tree map. So I'm sure you're going to find something that's going to be great for your specific use case. For now, let's just add a line chart to our canvas. Let's click on it, and there we have it. So you can see that some indicators are already displayed on the chart, and that is because all of our charts and maps have some placeholders already intact so that you can see how to format them correctly. And if we want to access the datasheet of this chart, we can just double click on it. And then here on the right, we can see the placeholders appear. And if we want to add some indicators to our chart, we can just start typing those right in the cells. So as you can see, the chart is automatically adapting to the changes that we're introducing here. You can, of course, copy and paste. So let's do just that. I have an external spreadsheet which we could use here. For example, let's delete all of this as we do not need it. And then we can just paste our data here and you can see them appear on the canvas, just as easy as that. But of course, there are also some other options for you to import data to your charts and maps. So for example, here we have the option to upload a file. So you can upload Excel and CSV files to use in your project. You can also connect your Prezi Design account to a Google Drive account. So the first time you'll do this, you will need to allow Prezi Design access to your Google Drive documents, and then you can just pick a specific document. It will connect to your chart or a map if you're using a map, and that will ensure live data updates. So as soon as you'll change something in your Google Drive document, the changes will appear in your chart and also in the embeds if you're embedding your chart somewhere. You can also add a JSON feed if you'd like to, so you can enter a JSON feed URL here, and then you can also ensure live data updates like that. And here you can also select one of the 5 available online databases to source your data. So for example, you just have to fill out this form and then you will be able to have live data updates with that database option. All right, and I also want to touch upon some of the customization options available for charts. So for that, once again, if you select an item on the canvas, the customization options will appear in the settings panel on the right. So for example, we can click on chart properties. Here we'll see several properties that you can toggle on or off. So some are going to be chart specific, some will be more general. For example, a pretty specific one for this line chart is you can smoothen its curves, for example. Here, there's an option to allow your viewers to download the data that you visualize. So if we enable this, we can see this button appear here in the bottom left corner of the chart. And some other options here as well that you can check out after the training session. Then we have the color tab, so we can of course change the colors of our chart. And with the line chart, we can actually also change the line weight and style. We can apply this to both lines so that we can see them better on the canvas. Then we have the axis and grid tab. So here, basically as it says, we can edit the axes and the grid. So here we can change the grid transparency, for example. We can give names to the axes. We can change the intervals of the y-axis like that, and some other options as well. And then comes the fonts tab. So here we can change the font size for all of the text items that we have in our chart. We can change the font color. And here under advanced settings, we can also customize specific items. So for example, if we only want to make the legend larger, so we can do just that, select the legend, and you can see on the canvas that now only the legend got larger in size. Then we have the legend tab itself, so here we can enable it or disable it and choose how we want to position it in accordance to our chart. Then we have the tooltips tab, so we can enable or disable those. As I hover over the chart, you will see those appear. So if you're sharing your chart or map online, I would encourage you to always keep these on, because this makes it easier for your viewers to read the information that you're visualizing. Then we have the data format tab, so we can add a prefix and a suffix. Let's actually add a suffix here so that we know that we're talking about million units here, and some other data formatting options. And last but not least, we have the accessibility tab, where we can add a label and a description to our chart. And actually this also works for all other objects that you have on the canvas. And so if your viewers will be using a screen reader, the screen reader will read out the label and the description that you've added here. So try to be as descriptive as possible for the screen reader to convey the information to the viewer who's using it. All right, let me also add a title, and here you can see as I move this chart around, you can see this pink line appears. So these are smart guides, and these will help you structure your content. You can also tap the G key on your keyboard, and now you can see that a grid appears. So you can access it here in the bottom left corner by clicking on grid, and here you can actually change the spacing of the grid if you'd like to, and you can also change the number of columns. So this will be visible only to you within the editor. And you can use this to structure your content. I usually use the smart guides. So let's also add a title to our chart. Let me just copy the one that I had here. Okay, perfect. And now let's center it. And actually, before we move forward with the other items available in the left side toolbar, I just want to mention that it's possible to change the look of your entire project with just a simple click. For that, we just have to go to the settings on the right, and here select the palette and branding thumbnail. So here I've actually enabled a brand kit. So if you're part of a team plan, your admin can create a brand kit, which are brand colors, brand fonts. Here also a logo could appear, so I haven't added one. And then with a simple click, your entire project would adjust to your brand colors and fonts. And if you don't have that, you can access some palettes that we have here. And if I start clicking through them, you're going to see that with one click, everything on the canvas changes. So including the colors and fonts. Let me just find one we could use. For example, this could be nice. Okay, let's stick with this one. Let me just make sure that these text objects are aligned to the center. Okay, perfect. So now we can move forward with the next option we have here in the left side toolbar, and that is the option to add maps. And there's almost 900 maps available in Prezi Design, so I'm sure you're going to find something that's going to be great for your specific use case. And then you can either use the category drop down here at the top, or you can use the search bar to look for specific maps. So for example, you can look for maps of cities. Let's type in Paris, for example, and then we get a map of Paris here. We can look for specific countries, like let's say Spain, and get a few maps of Spain here. If you're in the US, you might want to visualize some geographic data on specific states. So we can look for California, let's say, and then we get different maps of California. So just use the search bar and look for a map that's going to be useful in your specific use case. I'm going to be using a map of the United States now, so let's just drag and drop that right onto the canvas. There we have it. And before I add some data to this map, I actually wanted to show you the different types and styles of maps that you can use in Prezi Design. And for that, we just have to go to the Map Properties tab here on the right. And here under Map Type, you will see the drop down where you can select between an area map and an icon map. So all of the maps that you add to the canvas are area maps by default, and they are perfect for comparing data between different areas, in this case, the states. But if we select the icon map, you're going to see that now a icon will be designated to every entry that we have in our spreadsheet. And actually, if we open the spreadsheet, you're going to see that here we have all of the states of the US. And actually, let me delete all of this. And I just want to show you how the icon map works. So with it, you can pinpoint specific locations on the map. So in the first column that says English title, you can just type in the location that you want to use. For example, we can look for a specific city, like let's say Los Angeles. And then if we add a value, we can see it appear on the map with its specific coordinates. You could also type in street addresses, postal codes. We can actually also look for some landmarks, like let's say we want to pinpoint the Statue of Liberty on our map. And let's just add a value to it. And there we also have it with its specific coordinates. So you can either enter the names of the locations here in the first column, or you can actually, if you have the specific coordinates, you can also copy and paste the coordinates here in the fourth column, and then you can add the name after. So yeah, the icon map is great for pinpointing specific locations. But now let me go back to the area map. There we have it. And in addition to the two map types that you have available, you can also choose between 3 different styles for your map. So here under style, you can see 3 different maps to choose from. So by default, we have the heat map here. So the heat map assigns a hot and cold color to your values. If we open the spreadsheet one more time, we can see that here it uses the second column, which is called the value column. So in this case, the higher the value that we have in the spreadsheet, the darker the shade of blue on the map. So you can of course change the colors however you'd like. Then, in addition to the heat map, we can also use the individual style. So it's not perfect in this case because we have so many entries, but you could use this for an icon map, for example. You can use this to highlight specific items on the map. So remember that it's also possible to use the individual style. And also we have the group style here. And with this, specific colors can be assigned to groups that you have in your maps spreadsheet. So here, the third column, which says group, you can enter your group names. So for example, one use case that you could use this for is displaying election results, for example, and having the names of different parties here. And then you can assign specific colors to those. All right, now let's add some data. So I'm going to be using an icon map, and we'll be using the individual style. So let me go to the spreadsheet, and actually this time I want to upload an Excel file. So let me look for it. Okay, here it is. US cities with the most bike commuters. So there we have our data. We have the icons, and you can see that some of them are clustered because they're really close to one another. No worries about that. We can go to map properties, and here we have the slider that says marker cluster size. So we can drag this down, and here we can see all of the icons now appearing on our map. Also here, while we are looking at the map properties, there's the option to auto zoom on your map. So if I toggle this on, you can see that in this case, the map zooms in just a bit. This could be really useful, for example, if you would have several tabs for your map, and then you would be displaying indicators on different regions in each tab, and then the map would zoom in automatically. In this case, for example, if we would have only these icons here on the West Coast and use the auto zoom, then the map would automatically zoom in on the West Coast. We also have the labels option, of course, so we can use a tile layer as well. So here in the dropdown, you can select between 8 different tile layers if you want to use one. Some other options here as well, same as with the charts. Since we're using an icon map, we can also select the icon. For example, since we have some bicycle indicators, we can use an icon of a bicycle. So let's pick one, for example, this one. Okay, now they're pretty small. We can go into the value tab here on the right, and we can set the icon size as well. So let's make it larger like that. Okay, now we can see those better on the map. If we go into the color tab, so here we can of course change the colors of all the icons, and we can also change the missing area color, for example. So let's make it a bit lighter so that all the icons can be seen better. And we can also change the map outline color if we'd like to, like this, for example. All right, then under the color tab, we also have the value tab, as I already showed you. Then we have the fonts tab, same as with the chart, and then the legend, tooltips, data format, and accessibility tabs, same as we had with the charts. Let me just quickly copy this title and let me copy it from here as well. The next option that we have in the toolbar on the left is the option to add graphics, and this is where you can really make your projects pop, because here you can add some icons, you can add images, you can use sticker GIFs and regular GIFs, as well as video covers, and also this is the place where you can upload your own images and videos. So here at the top you can see the option to upload an image or video, so you can upload your own JPEG, PNG, SVG, and GIF files, as well as MP4 video files. Otherwise, for example, we could use a video cover. Here in the search bar, we can look for some specific content, like let's say cycling, since that's the theme of our infographic. And here you're going to find tons of content. This is powered by Storyblocks. So for example, we can use this one. Let's drag and drop it onto the canvas. Then let's resize it. Let's make it larger. Let's center it. Okay, and for example, with the video covers, you can use those in various ways. You can layer some content on top of those. You can use those as banners at the top of your page. You can split those in half with shapes and whatnot. For example, let's add a text box on top of it. I think I have a sentence somewhere here, yes. Let's just use this. Then we can resize this. Let's actually change the color so that we can see it better. We could also resize it, align it to the right, for example. Okay, there we have it. So just as easy as that, you can place some text on top, or a chart, or an icon, whatever you'd like to make your designs more engaging with these video covers. Also, another thing that we have here is, of course, the option to use images. This is powered by Unsplash, so you can upload your own images or you can use stock images. And here I just want to show you quickly how you can edit your images. So for example, let's use this one. And then once you select the image on the canvas, you can customize it on the right just as any other of the objects. So for example, you can crop your images. If we select the crop option, these trim marks will appear on the canvas, and then you can reposition them to crop your image. Just as easy as that. Let's go back. You can also use the mask option. So this is also basically cropping, but with specific icons. So for example, you can use the search bar to look for specific graphics, or we can, for example, use the circle option and then crop it like this. Okay. Another thing that we have here in the settings panel is filters and adjustment options. So you can use different filters for your image, and if you click on the adjust tab, you can also tweak some of the sliders over here. And another really neat feature is the option to remove the background of your image. So there you have it here on the right. And if we click on it, before we actually do that, I just want to mention that for this to work better, you would have to have a clear contrast between the foreground and background of your image. So let's select this. And yeah, actually in this case, it worked pretty nice. So you can see that the cutout image is still really high in quality, and feel free to use this option as well for your images. But let's delete this image for now. And what I just wanted to mention as I added this text item here on top of the video cover is that you can easily layer the content that you have in Prezi Design. For that, you can just right click on a specific object, and here we'll see the options to bring forward or bring to front, or send backward and send to back. So you can layer various items on top of one another. So that was it regarding the graphics. Feel free to check those out, and don't forget that you can also upload your own images and videos. The next thing that we have here is the option to add elements, and with the elements you're going to see 10 different categories of pre-made elements. So these are all going to be groups of separate items, And for example, let's say you want to create a flowchart. So you can select flowcharts, and here you will see that there's various options to pick from. So we could use this one. Let's click on it, and then we can see it on the canvas. So as I mentioned, this is a group of separate items. You can ungroup those in the settings panel on the right. And if you would like to edit a specific item of the group, you can just double click on it. For the shape, for example, we can then change its color. We can then also double click on the text and work on that. So for example, we can resize the text as easy as that. So with the elements, if we go back to all of the categories, you can just have a look at these. So these will speed up your workflow as well, and you can use galleries, for example. There's different diagrams, and also what's most important, you can see that all of them have the colors of the palette that we've selected. And if you would be using a brand kit, so all of these colors and fonts would also automatically be set up to your brand kit. All right, let's remove this for now. Then we also have the option to add a shape here. So basically just various shapes that you can use however you'd like in your project. So for example, let's add a rectangle, and let's say we want to use it as a background for this video cover. So we can place it here, and then remember that we can send it to the back, for example, and use it like this. So you can use shapes in different ways. Then under add shape, we have the option to access our library. And currently I don't have any items in here. Let me just show you how you can easily add those. For example, if we would like to add this title and the map as a single item to our library, we can just select both of those, right click on them, and here we'll see the option to add to library. And there you just saw that they were added. And then if we go to the library once more, we're going to see that the item is available here. And then you can easily insert it in other Prezi Design projects. For example, the map will have all of its interactive elements intact. You will be able to edit it. And also if you paste it in a project that has a different color setting, then the map will automatically adapt to those colors. So you can add whatever you have here in your project. So also images, video covers, text items. So basically everything you have on the canvas you can add to the library and then reuse in other Prezi Design projects. And here I also would like to mention that it's also possible to reuse these in Prezi Present, but there you won't be able to customize those. So they will be just as static images, but still it's possible to use them in Prezi Present and vice versa. And the last thing that we have here on the left is the option to use integrations. So here you will find the Prezi video integration. So for example, you can use your own Prezi videos or those created by others in your Prezi Design projects. It's possible to use YouTube videos. You can have Vimeo videos and your viewers will be able to play those. For example, let's just look for something on Vimeo. So you can just use the search bar here, or you can copy and paste a URL of a project that you already, of a video that you already found before. And then, yeah, I don't know, let's just add a random video. And then you can resize it here on the canvas. You can see all of the play options appear. So your viewers will be able to play this in your project. And also here we can use the URL integration. We can also use iframes. And here we have the data integrations that I already showed you before. Now I'd like to show you how to use some of the more interactive features available within Prezi Design, and for that I've prepared some examples created by our users, and then I'm also going to show you how you can recreate that yourself within the editor. So for example, let's start with the option to add links to your content. So that is a really neat feature used by a lot of our user. So for example, here we have a map of the US, and here as I hover over each state, you can see that it's clickable, and that means that every state has been added a link. So for example, if we click on Colorado, we get taken into an external PDF document. So this user has linked each state to another PDF document to provide additional insights on the data visualized here. So we can also click on another state, for example, here, and then the same thing happens. And let me just show you how you can add links yourself. So basically, you can add links to all of the content that you have in your project. For example, this text item, you can just right click on it, and there you will see the option to add a link. But since I showed you a map, let me show you how you can also add links to maps. So for that, let's go into the maps datasheet. And here, for example, we could add a link to Portland. And for that, we just have to right click on the cell that has the value. And here we will see the option to add change link. And then we can add a URL. So for example, let's just add a random link, then select apply, and now as we hover over this specific icon, we can see that it's clickable, unlike all of the other icons that we have here. And if we click on it, we get taken to that page that we provided the link to. So just as easy as that, you just go to the datasheet, right click on a cell opposite of the icon that you have, and this of course works also for area maps. So you would do the same, just right click on a cell and select add change link. It also works the same with charts and with other objects. As I mentioned, you can just right click on them, and for example, with the text item, you can just right click on it and select add link over there. Another thing I want to show you is how you can add page links as well. So let's say we want to create an interactive table of content. So here we have a text box with several lines of text. So if we right click on it and select add link, the same link will be added to all of these text lines, but we can also select a specific line, then go to the settings panel on the right, and here we'll see the option to add link. So let's click on that. And now, in addition to the URL option, we can also add links to other pages, because this specific project, unlike the previous one, has more than one page. And then we can select the page. We get a little preview here as well. So let's select page number 4, for example, and click apply. And now you can see that the link is here. Of course, you can remove the underline if you don't need it. Then let's go into page number 4, and let's also let our users easily jump back to page number 1. So we can add a text item. Let me just place it here, and let's make it smaller. So this is just as an example. We can, for example, rename it to say back to top. Then we can place it here in the corner, and then we can right click on it, add a link, add link to page number 1, click apply, and now this will link out back to the first page. And if we go into the full screen mode here in the top right corner, let's see how this works. So in this project, I had already added some animations, as you saw, and then if we click on this link, we get taken to that page, and then we can go back to top with one simple click. So just as easy as that, you can add page links to your content as well. Another thing I would like to show you is how you can create interactive dashboards. So in this example, we can see that there's a map of the EU. There are some charts here as well. And in the dropdown, we can see all of the countries of the EU. So for example, let's select one. And as you saw, the map and the charts automatically adapted. And if we start clicking through the countries, you can see that the charts and the map is automatically adjusting to our selection. So let me show you how you can create these interlinked dashboards yourself. If you're into data visualization, for example, here I prepared a really simple example with a chart and a map similar to the one I just showed you. And the most important thing to remember here is in order to link your charts and maps together, they need to have the same tab names. So here you can see that I have 3 tabs for each, and they have the same names. And if I start clicking through them, you can see that automatically both are changing. And regarding the tab names, so with most of the charts, if you go to the spreadsheet, you can just start writing in a new column, and then you will see a new tab appear. Whereas with the maps, you have to go to the bottom right corner here of the spreadsheet, and then you can add a new tab from there. And then once you have tabs with the same names, you have to go to the main settings on the right. Under viewer experience, you will see the option to link charts by tab name. If I disable this, now you can see that only this chart is changing on its own. But if I go back and enable it, now you're going to see that both of them are changing. And then actually, if we don't need all of the tabs for all of our charts and maps, we can go into the properties, and here we can hide the tabs. So now we can use only these to navigate both. And then let's actually also hide this. Hide the tabs of this map. So now we don't have them, and you might wonder how are we going to switch between the tabs. But I've actually added links to these text objects here, to these text boxes. So each of them links out to the specific tabs. So if we go into the full screen mode and I start clicking through them, you're going to see that just as easy as that, we can navigate the dashboard. So you can use these links for text boxes or for other objects added from the toolbar on the left. And then we would just have to right click on one. Now it says edit link. First time it would say add link. And then here the third option is available, add link to open chart map tab. Then you just select the chart or map here, select the specific tab that you want to open, and then click apply. Yes, and just as easy as that, actually, let's remove the underline. So just as easy as that, you can also add links to open specific tabs. So in one of the examples I showed you, there were already some animations, but let me show you another example. So in this infographic, as we're going to be scrolling down, you're going to see the content appearing on the page with various animations. So as you can see, charts are popping up, text objects are zooming in. So with Prezi Design, you can add all of these to your content as well to make it more engaging. And if we go into the project that we were creating today, we can, for example, select this text item, and then the add animation option is available in the settings panel on the right. So you can animate all of the objects that you have on the canvas. And just click on add animation, and then once you hover over the thumbnails, you're going to see a preview of the animation on the page. So there's entrance animations, there's exit animations, and there's some attention seekers as well. For example, for this one, we could use a fade and down animation, and let's select it. And then you can add some additional tweaks to the animation. For example, you can change the duration for this entrance animation. That means you can make it slower or faster. You can add a delay. So if you have a lot of animations on your page, you can add delays of different amounts for them to play in a sequence. And with the entrance animation, with the specific one, you can also change the distance, how far it's going to fade in. Then you can get a preview at any time, and here in the drop down next to play, you can select whether the animation will play only once when visible, either it's going to be always repeatedly playing. You can also use the option on scroll into view, for example, with longer infographics. And here also with several page projects, you can have on-click animations. And if we go into the full screen mode, there we have our animation. And you can also easily copy animations. So for example, we can right click on this item, and there you will see the option copy animation. Then you can paste it on other objects to have the same animation play out. And another thing I want to mention is the option to use callouts in Prezi Design. So here we also have a really simple example. There's an image and some icons on top, which are slightly animated. And as I hover over one of the icons, you're going to see a callout appear. So this is not a tooltip, this is a callout. So you can also add images to these. You can also add links within those. So yeah, as I hover over, you can see callouts appear. And I also have a really simple example. So we have an image of a car. I've already added some shapes, and I've created the callouts with those. So let's also add another shape. Let's resize this in order to customize it faster. We can right click on this one. Here you will see the option to copy style. we can right click on this one and select paste style. So now they are both the same. And to add a callout, you can add those to all of the shapes that we have here on the left, as well as to graphics that you can access here, for example, icons. And then we can right click on it. There you will see the option to add a callout. And then you can start typing the text that you want to use right away. So for example, let's type in something like, this car has a 2-liter engine, for example. Doesn't really matter. And then if we click on the callout itself, let me just quickly change the color of the text like that. And then if we click on the callout itself, we can customize it in the settings panel on the right. So here we can change the positioning, for example. Let's place it on the right if we want to. Then we can change its behavior. So either it's going to open on click or on hover. Then we can change the background color as well if we would like to. Here it's possible to add an image as well. So if we click on add, we can upload our own images, or we can use one from the stock library. So let's use this one, for example. Doesn't really matter. You can then easily resize those. You can do the same with the text. You can, of course, change the font. So basically, you can customize the text and the image as you would with a regular object on the canvas. And yeah, we can place it like this, add a shadow if we'd like to. And yeah, there we have it. And if we go into the full screen mode, I actually also added some animations to both of these. And you can see as you hover over the shape, you can click on it and the callout appears. And as I mentioned, you can also add links within the callouts. So just as easy as that. If you would like to download your project, in the editor, click on the download button in the top right corner. As we do that, we get taken into the download page, and here we can select between 5 different download formats. You can download your project as a PNG, JPEG, or PDF file, so these will be static files. That means that all of the interactive elements will be lost. The video covers won't play out, of course, so just keep that in mind. But with the PNG and PDF, you can also use a transparent background if you would like to then reuse this somewhere else. And also it's possible to download your projects as GIFs and MP4s. So if you have animated content, if you want to create some social media posts, this is going to be perfect for you. So with the GIFs and MP4s, you can of course change the size. For the GIFs, you can set the frame rate. You can create looped playback GIFs. Here you can always get a preview of how your GIF or MP4 would look. And then once you're ready to download your content, just click on download over here. Also, if you would like to download specific items, you can select those on the canvas and then right click on them, and here you can see the option to export as, and also have the 5 download formats available here. So just as easy as that, you can download your content. If you would like to share your content, click on the share button next to the download button over here. And here you can set the privacy settings. So if you're a paid subscriber, all of your projects will be private, and then you can create a private link and share those like this. And only those who you've shared the link with will be able to access your project. Otherwise, you can also make your projects public so that anyone on the web can see them. And then you can copy this link and share it with others to access your view page. And if your projects are public, they will also appear in search engines. And here you can also check this box here at the bottom of this pop-up to allow others to make copies of your projects and use those as templates. But now let's go into the view page of that project. And I just want to show you another sharing option that you can use. So on this view page, your viewers can access your content. You can share it like that, but you can also embed your content. And if you go into your project's view page here at the bottom under your project, you will see the embed option. If you select this, here you will find the embed code. You can copy it to clipboard. Then go to your content management system on your website, paste it in there, and then if you embed your content. All of the interactive elements will also work. The videos will play out, the video covers will be working, all of the tooltips in your charts and maps will be visible. So let me actually show you an example. So here we have some embeds on this page. So for example, here there's a chart embedded here, so it's interactive. As you can see, you can click on the legend and it's having these animations. You can of course use your brand colors for your embeds, and yeah, you can basically embed whatever you'd like from Prezi Design. Either, like in this case, those are single charts, or you can use just a video cover to embed somewhere. So everything you have on the canvas, or anything you can add from the toolbar on the left, you can embed it on your website as well. As I mentioned in the beginning of today's training session, you can also create videos from your Prezi Design content. For example, if you go into the Prezi Design template library here under categories, you're going to find one that says designs for video. So these templates are made specifically for you to create Prezi videos with this content. And here on the thumbnails, you can see how that would look like. So the content will be on the one side of the screen and you will appear on the other side. So of course, you can create videos from any content that you've created in Prezi Design, not just these specific templates. And if we go into the editor, you're going to find the button record video here in the top right corner of the page. So once you click on that, you will get a preview of the content that you've created in yourself on the camera. And from there, you can start creating your own Prezi video. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. If you have any questions about Prezi Design or the other Prezi products, or if you'd like to have a free trial of the Prezi Teams plan with your colleagues, feel free to send a message to training@prezi.com. And if you'd like to learn more about using the 3 Prezi products, go to support.prezi.com and have a look at the step-by-step guides. See you another time. Bye-bye.